Hello my friends and welcome back. Please note that I am filming this without my glasses on and no contacts in, so if anything's out of focus at any point, I can't see anything. Everything's out of focus for me right now. I didn't even think about this as a video, and then someone commented requesting me to do it, and I think it's actually really smart. And this is why I love getting comments from you guys, because you guys have way better ideas than me a lot of the time. So today I'm going to be talking about being old on the DCP. So if you don't know, I just turned 25. You can barely see them, but they're back there. They're dying. Those are my birthday balloons. I did just turn 25, so I am old in the world of Disney programs. I find most people in the program tend to range between like 18 and 21 probably. A lot of people do it in like their second and third year of university, or some people will do it after they graduate, but I find a lot of like the Americans especially will do it in like their second or third year. International participants I feel like run a little bit older, especially the ones who work at Epcot. But I'm gonna like put myself as old because I think most people are like under the age of 22 that are in the program. But I was never underage on either of my programs. I mentioned this before, obviously 25 now. I was 24 in my last program and I was 23 on my first program. So I've never been like 18 or underage in any way on my programs. Overall, I had no issues. I have friends from like a bunch of different age groups. Obviously y'all know Jamie. Jamie's like 4 years old, so we're still friends and we have like a 5-year age gap. Most of actually all the girls I lived with on my first program, they were all of age, because my first program was when we still had wellness and non-wellness housing. So if you wanted to drink or have alcohol, you needed to be with all people over 21. So we were all 21 in my first program. But in my second program, like I'd say between all the roommates I had, like half of us were of age, half of us weren't. But I had a lot of friends that were under 21. I did have a few that were over 21, but there's a lot of young people and I didn't really notice a difference. The only thing is obviously they can't drink, so your younger friends like can't go out with you and things like that, but I didn't notice a huge difference in general. I made friends with people from all over the place. I made friends with people of all ages. I made friends with people from all locations. It wasn't a big deal. So there is lots of pros, but I feel like listing all the pros is just being friends with people, and wouldn't be any different. You know, do you know what I'm trying to say? Am I okay? Am I losing my mind? What I'm trying to say is I'm only going to be listing cons here, but because I'm only listing the bad things, it doesn't mean that there's only bad things about being old on the program, because 90% of the time it didn't affect anything about working for Disney or living in housing or anything like that. The one thing I kind of brought this up earlier that's a con is if you have a bunch of friends that are under 21 and you're over 21, they obviously can't go out with you. So I wasn't a big drinker anyways, but like I wanted to go to Jelly Rolls, but if I didn't have friends that were over 21, I wasn't about to go by myself. I was lucky that I made more friends later on in my program, so I did end up going to Jelly Rolls a bunch with those people, but I didn't go for the first like 2 months because I didn't have that many friends that were over 21. So that was kind of fortunate. Same with if you go to like Hoop-Dee-Doo. If you don't know, if you're over 21, it's unlimited. I think wine, beer, and sangria. But like I'm not gonna go and get really drunk at Hoop-Dee-Doo if I'm the only one that can drink. Makes it a little awkward. Same if you're in the parks. Like I am not a big drinker, but I'll have a margarita. But also because I'm not a big drinker, I can get really drunk really fast. And I don't want to be like the weird girl that's like tipsy off one margarita at Epcot when no one else can drink at all. So that's kind of the only downside there. But that's more of like a under 21, over 21 problem than like the fact that I'm old at 25, you know? This one is like obviously situational and depends on like your group of friends and your people and who you worked with and stuff. But I found a lot of things very like high school, I guess is the best way to say it, where like I feel like I'm a full adult, which makes me maybe like boring to some people, but like I do take classes online, but I work a full-time job, 40 hours a week. It's pretty much a 9 to 5 at this point, but I work a full-time job. I like am setting myself up for a career. Like okay, now I live at home, so we're not going to talk about that, but like I lived on my own for 7 years in Vancouver. Like I had my own place. I feel like I'm very just like old in that sense. I dealt with like drama in high school. I had like a lot of issues with girls like in my first couple years of university, which if you know me in person, you know that whole story. But I feel like I'm so over that point in my life, and I'm like so over drama, and like I'm such a direct person where if I have a problem with you, and like my coworkers can tell me this too, if you mess something up where I work, if you work with me, I'll straight up be like, what'd you do? Like there's no point like beating around the bush and like talking behind people's backs. Like there's no point to that. And I feel like that's something that just comes with age, because you get to a point where you're like, I don't have the time and I don't have the patience for this, and it's very much my mentality. So for me, it's annoying that you get people like whispering behind people's backs and having like issues with cliques and friend groups, and a lot of the times in Disney it just feels very like cliquey and like young and like high school, where it's like, oh well, so-and-so told me that so-and-so called out to this shift because they were doing this with this person who's, and I'm like, I just show up to work. Like just do your job, which is another thing that I felt like I was at Disney to work. Like I knew that I was going there to work. I love my job this last program. I love the people that I worked with. I don't think I called in sick once this last summer at all. Was I late? Absolutely. But I don't think I called in. And even my first program, I didn't call in besides the one time that I was like really genuinely sick. And I feel like a lot of people who are younger and have like maybe not had full-time jobs before, or like maybe have never not lived in their parents' basement before, don't see Disney as an actual job. I went into it knowing I needed to work, knowing that the hours were long, knowing that you were outside, knowing that it was hard work. And I think a lot of people that are younger, haven't done that before, don't know it, so they're more prone to like getting reprimands and calling out and being late all the time and hating their locations and complaining all the time. And like I'm just like, there's no point in complaining. There's no point in complaining. You're just going to annoy yourself. You're going to annoy everyone around you. You're honestly there to work. It's not a glorified vacation. And I think a lot of younger people don't get that, and then they get like wrapped up in all the little like drama. Like we all know that there's only like 4 straight men in all of the Disney college program. It's not worth it. Just don't do it. Well, I actually did a lot more of this program than the first program. I feel like my first program I just kind of like sat at home a lot and worked, and I didn't do much like outside on my days off or before and after work, which I think also had to do with the fact that I didn't work in a theme park, so I couldn't just like go to a park after work. I would have to go to Springs and then go somewhere, and it was just like Springs to a resort to get to a park. It was a whole thing. The buses were not a thing to Typhoon in 2018. This last program I tried to like go to the parks more, and the only thing that made me feel old is like I feel like once I couldn't keep up with people. And I've been like this since I was honestly like probably 22. Like I have always been kind of old, where like if I go out and drink the night before, like I'm dead the next day. Like when I was like 19, I could stay out till 5 a.m. I could drink like a half a 2-6 of like some probably gross pink lemonade vodka, and I could get up out of bed at like 7 2 hours later and go work a full work day, no problem. Now if I have like 2 drinks at a bar and I go home, like my head hurts the next day. I need like at least 10 hours of sleep. I'm so dehydrated, my like skin feels like it's gonna fall off. Like I can't. So like if I worked on a Monday, which I don't think I ever did, I think Mondays might have been, Mondays or Wednesdays were like my red time. But if I worked on a Monday early, like I wasn't gonna go to Jelly Rolls the night before, which I feel like people who were like younger could bounce back from. I couldn't go out and stay out late and then get up the next day. Even if I was working like, you know, a breakfast shift at Crystal that started at 6, I would need to be up at like 4. So I wasn't gonna stay and watch the fireworks the night before till 10. You know what I mean? And even just like going to the parks every day was exhausting. I worked out in the heat. I worked long hours. I feel like my job was like very like mentally exhausting, involved a lot of thinking a lot of the time, especially if I was working like outside or with fur or like in a busy location like Pete's. Like it just drained me sometimes to be at work. So where some people were totally fine just like going to the parks after work, like some days I literally needed to go home and just decompress and like breathe. And that wasn't something that I used to have to do when I was younger. So I think that's the only thing that makes me feel like old, is that sometimes I couldn't necessarily keep up with all the youngins. And like a lot of times I like to do fun things on my days off, where other people can like go out like all day after work and then wake up early for work the next day and then go to the parks again after work and just go and never stop and survive off 3 hours of sleep, which I honestly did for like 2 weeks of my program, and then I feel like I was gonna die after. So that's the only time that I really feel like old per se. So that's really it. Like I said, it didn't make a huge difference for me. I had a lot more younger friends this program now that I was older, ironically, but I really didn't notice a huge difference. I think like sometimes there's a negative stigma if you're like over 30 and on the program, but again, I think it's like super the way that you handle yourself and the way that you carry yourself. No one knew that I was 25 on this program. Everyone assumed that I was like the same age as Jamie, which is great because that made me feel really young. But if you like have fun and you're not super serious, like you can be like a fun mom. Like I was like the fun mom of my friends. I was there to make sure everyone was safe. Hi, cat. I think as long as you don't take yourself too seriously and you enjoy yourself, then you're fine. And I also think a lot of the things that came with me being old were kind of good things. Like I took my job seriously and I try not to be involved with like a bunch of ridiculousness and things like that. If you are like old, I keep putting old in quotes because like I'm like 25, still like really young in the whole realm of life, you know? But if you are old and have done a program or like worked for Disney, we're friends with a bunch of CPs, you can leave your experiences down below. I would love to read them as well. As always, my links to everything are down below. Feel free to subscribe. I upload like 2 to 3 times a week, lots of Disney stuff, sometimes non-Disney stuff, some vlogs, things like that. I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos as they like roll out interviews and things like that for the cultural exchange program or the international J1 program, so subscribe if you are interested in that type of content. That's it. That's all. I'm gonna go put my glasses back on so I can see some things, and I'll see you guys in a couple days. Bye.